Oh, I don't know, man. It's getting really close. I just don't know if Steve is going to survive these episodes.
I have no idea, but I love it!
Oh, you can kiss my jolly ass. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for Stranger Things. This one's going to be doing my review for the long-anticipated Stranger Things Season 5, Final Season, Volume 1. So, oh my god, y'all, after 3.5 years, we have made it to the end of Stranger Things. Well, the beginning of the end, at least. We have another 2 volumes to go, 1 volume and then a series finale to go. But, I finished the first volume last night. I watched all 4 episodes with some buddies of mine, and I figured I would just wait till today to, you know, gather my thoughts and put the review out here for you guys. But this is going to be a long review. I can already feel that coming. We're going to have a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to go into. So many different pieces that were kind of explored here, and reveals and everything like that. But I'm going to get started with this. I had a really good time with this half. This half season, Volume 1, really, really good television. Really good stuff. I would say my immediate reaction to this is just utter shock, honestly. I didn't expect this to end in the way that it did. It was stressful. It was eventful. It was exciting. It was action-packed. It was funny as hell at times, too. And it was great. It was such a fun time. So, obviously, let's kind of just talk about the elephant in the room here. Let's talk about the way that this all kind of goes. I did not expect to see Will Byers with powers. That's one thing I did not expect to see. I also didn't expect to see, which was a shocker to me, 8 return at the end there. That was insane. So they are tying in 11's sister, which I didn't expect to see that at all. But yeah, no, there was some crazy moments, crazy things happen. You know the biggest thing that I can compliment about this season right out of the gate? And it's a glaring issue that I've had with previous seasons of, well, the last few seasons of the show, is that I find that each season starts too slow. Like, it's like, we're always in happy times, we're always, like, building and building and building, and then the last few episodes pop off. This season, we're in it. You know what I mean? Like, we are in it. The first episode, we are into it. Like, you already have Hopper's life on the line. You already have everybody making this plan. You already have them going in. It was an exciting way to start the season. And everybody, and I mean everybody, is involved in one way or another, and that's one thing I appreciate. I'm glad that this final season so far has been using their cast very wisely. They've been using all their background characters and promoting them to massive characters like Erica, for example. They really, really have utilized all of their characters this season, and I think that's a massive highlight, because a show that's as big as Stranger Things, you'd expect them to have a few characters that kind of fall behind, but they've used every character, and I think they're using them very well, you know what I mean? So, let's kind of go into every episode, let's discuss the plots of each one, and we'll kind of rate them as we go here. So, Episode 1, The Crawl. Good lord, man. Now, obviously, we start things off with a flashback with Vecna, where he took Will for the very first time back in Season 1. Yes, they probably CGI'd the Will kid. I've heard some people complaining about that online. I think it looks good. I've never understood the issues with it. I think they captured young Will perfectly fine, honestly. But yeah, no, that's great stuff. I enjoyed seeing Vecna, you know, get Will on his side, setting up what happens later, obviously, when he gets the powers. So I get why they showed us that opening scene, and it's good knowledge, you know what I mean? Because it's right after the opening of the pilot of the show. So I thought that was great. And then obviously, you know, you got Vecna that, you know, has Will to his disposal, and he's like, William, we're going to do wonderful and beautiful things together, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, he fucks up all your guys, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you say so. But anyway, we then cut to the current day. We basically have all of our characters living, you know, pretty horrible lives, as a matter of fact, because it's not like a happy opening like you know, usual season. Like, yeah, you've got Robin, you've got Steve. They're like hosting their new like radio station at the YQSF, I think, or something like that, whatever that thing's called. And basically, like, they're sitting there, they're talking. She talks about her having a date tonight and stuff like that. So Robin's still with her girl, which that's great. You've got Steve there, of course. That's like kind of her co-host. You've got Dustin, who is going to school. We get to see him. We got some bullies that are hating on Hellfire Club and on Eddie and his, crapping on his memory. And basically you have Dustin that's kind of getting bullied. But you know what I like about this version of the bully plot is that I like that this time our characters have always been kind of getting bullied and messed with throughout a lot of the show. That's been an issue since the first season. But they've always had to have adults or 11 in most cases defend them against bullies. I like how in this season you have Mike and Lucas that stand up for, Dustin and help him out when he's getting pushed around. I think that was fantastic to see. I like seeing the gang kind of helping each other out, Now, you've got 11 that's training. They kind of do a fake out where they make it look like as if like the military's chasing her, which I could tell they weren't. I could tell that was somebody else. But the portal to the Upside Down is very much still on the outside, and they've mentioned that as well. Like, it's been a year. Like, Max is still in the hospital. She's not waking up. She's in a coma. 11's been training the last year, getting stronger and stronger, but she doesn't believe that she's strong enough. Hopper and Joyce are kind of cheering her on, you know what I mean? But she doesn't believe that it's enough. It's really nice to kind of get an update on all the characters, kind of how they're doing and stuff like that. I thought they did that very well. You have Steve and Jonathan that are like, having like a dick measuring competition, like whoever can impress Nancy the best, you know what I mean? Like, you've got them going up like the tower to try to get the antenna, the signal back up, you know what I mean? And then it's like, it's fixed, like they're really trying to win her over, and I'm like, Jonathan, buddy, you have her, dude. I don't think Steve is necessarily trying too hard, but they're definitely, they've got a bit of a dick measuring competition going on, I'd say, you know what I mean? Which they acknowledge that in the second episode. We'll go through that in a few minutes here. But yeah, no, I thought that was funny, getting to see an update on all the characters. I thought it was pretty insane, though, when you have Dustin that visits Eddie's grave, and then the bullies confront him there, and basically, you have Dustin that kind of has to fend them off. And what's funny? Dustin may have gotten his ass kicked, y'all. You may say, yeah, he did. But I will say, Dustin handled his own in that fight for a good amount of time before they got the best of him. And Dustin hasn't really ever been a big fighter on the show. So, honestly, I'm going to give Dustin some mad props. He's my favorite character of the first episode. For that, he definitely is. He was a standout for sure. And I like how he stood up to them. I thought that was badass. So, that was all great stuff. You have them making this plan to go in. You basically have a military base where the military's at. You've got this new woman that's, kind of in charge and stuff like that. Famous actress, her name's escaping me at the moment, but she's like the general, you know what I mean? She's like the commander of the military, right? And basically, you got them that are set up in the Upside Down. Like, the base is literally set up in the Upside Down where they're at, which I think is awesome because, again, like, that's a massive thing right there, is that, like, you can actually set up in the Upside Down and, set up, ship right there, which I thought was kind of insane. So you've got Hopper that basically goes in. He goes in there, sneaks in. You've got them watching out for him, stuff like that, as he sneaks into the back of the truck. Big skeptical there. I love seeing, like, the gate open and stuff like that. I love seeing all that stuff. It was really good. You've got them on the outside, making sure that Hopper makes it in time and stuff like that. They're timing it out properly. And it's really insane to see, honestly. And, in the meantime, you've also got 11 and Mike that, meet back up, so you get some interactions between them. I thought that was really good as well, too. And then Hopper. Now, I'm going to be honest, y'all. Honestly, if I didn't see clips of Hopper later in the season in the trailer, I'd be getting pretty worried for him right here. Because when you see him in the back of, like, the vehicle and stuff, and then the trucks ram into each other and stuff like that, and you got, like, the Demogorgon and stuff, I was like, oh my god, man. Now, let's talk about Will here for a minute, because it's like he gets the perspective in this episode of the Demogorgons, and he notably saves Hopper in that scene. I don't know 100% what that was, aside from just some kind of tease at his powers, probably. That's probably what that insinuates, but again, it's hard to say. It was crazy though. I'll tell you what, it was a crazy action piece. And Hopper, I mean, Hopper's a badass as usual. I also like seeing him and Joyce together now. You know what I mean? Like he's like, you just keep getting more beautiful every day. You know what I mean? He tells her that. You know, I thought that was pretty great. Yeah, no, I loved all of that stuff. That stuff was fan-frickin-tastic. And well, then at the end of the episode, basically, you've got the Wheeler family. You've got obviously Karen and Unc and obviously, Holly Wheeler, who's the main, like, young kid of the episode. She kind of keeps seeing, like, this same person over and over again, and they don't really show you who this is. Like, there's moments where she's, like, communicating with people that aren't really there, and it's, like, kind of like this creepy stuff going on, you know what I mean? And I was thinking to myself the whole time, I was like, yeah, this is Vecna, isn't it? You know what I mean? This is fucking Vecna. That's actually exactly what happens. You've got Vecna, basically, that is kind of messing with her, and towards the end of the episode, you've got Karen Wheeler that's, like, doing her own thing. She's drinking a lot. I noticed that. She's drinking a lot, probably from trauma. And you've got, Holly here that basically, she's in her room, she's doing her thing. Next thing you know, the fucking roof caves in, and you got the darn Demogorgon that comes through and, opens up its mouth towards her. And they cliffhanger the episode. There you go. They fucking cliffhanger the episode. So I was like, oh shit. Okay. So that was the first episode. I would say for this one, I got a 9 out of 10. It's really good. 9 out of 10. The only issue I had with it is I found that Will, like the scenes with Will, like when he's like spying on like Robin and stuff like that, and like other moments like that, like, and I just find Will, like, I still find him hard to enjoy sometimes. I don't know what it is. I find his character just like, he's such one note sometimes, you know what I mean? And I feel like he kind of weighs the show down sometimes. Could be a personal thing. I find Will hard to connect with, honestly. I don't know what it is. I just found that ever since like the last like few seasons. I find Will's just gotten weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an odd one there. But I would say aside from that, and maybe a few slow scenes and stuff like that, it was a great episode. I give it a 9 out of 10. It was a great first episode. I think they done good with it. It was action-packed, though, and there was a lot of good scenes with Dustin and all that stuff. Yeah, it was a great first episode. It moved, you know what I mean? Like, the episode, it didn't stay still. It moved, and it moved quickly, and that's what I liked about it. So, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 for episode 1. Now, episode 2. Probably the most brutal scene of the whole season so far. I'd even say of the show up to a degree. You have the Demogorgon that comes in, you have Holly that runs, you have her and Karen that hide in the bathtub to try to hide from the Demogorgon, and they manage to survive that. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, I was like, oh my god, like he's gonna frickin' find them, you know what I mean? It was a scary scene. And the dad's out there playing golf. He comes in there, and basically, he actually stands his ground. He actually fights back against the Demogorgon. And hey, look, I thought that was badass, because I didn't see any kind of badassery from him ever happening, you know what I mean? And the thing, unfortunately, takes him, rips him apart, and throws him across the room. Now, he's not dead. I thought he was dead when I first was watching that scene. But you then later find out the medics were able to save him. And, then obviously, Holly, which she's, kind of standing back there, as you got, Karen that stands there, breaks her wine bottle in half, to where there's a pointy end to it, and she's like, get away from my daughter, you know what I mean? And she's swinging at this thing back and forth. She gets this thing multiple times, but then the Demogorgon gets her bad, rips her, insides, out, basically. And, you got Karen that basically goes down. But I like the way they edited it, because it was bloody for one thing. It was bloody, and it was gruesome, and it was intense. But also, I liked how they showed then Nancy and them coming into the house, revealing what happened to Karen. I like that. I thought that was really good. And for Stranger Things, I gotta tell you, man, they had some gore going on here. You know what I mean? And I'm not used to gore on this show, because I feel like this show is relatively, for, the younger kids. You know what I mean? In some areas. They went for it this episode. There was blood all over the damn kitchen, all over the frickin' fridge. You had Karen down on the ground there, barely hanging on, you know what I mean? Good lord, man. I mean, honestly, insane. And you've got Nancy that's there in the nick of time, but then you find out that they took Holly. So Holly is now trapped in the Upside Down. And that is what this episode's called, The Vanishing of Holly Wheeler. That's the name of episode 2. So I thought that was really crazy. And basically, she went down defending her daughter, but she couldn't save her. The medics take her away. I have to admit, y'all, I kind of thought they were going to be killing Nancy's parents, both of them, to be honest. But it sounds like they were able to save them in time, except Holly now is in the Upside Down, and Nancy's parents are in the hospital. So you kind of have this montage of, Nancy, like, cleaning the blood off her hands in the hospital, you know what I mean? Just going through all that trauma. I'm going to be honest about one thing, though, guys. I actually kind of feel like they should have killed one of the parents off. At least one of them. I feel like it kind of was a cop-out that they didn't go through with it, was it not? I don't know, like, I know, like, it's great that her parents survived, but I feel like that would have added to the tension a little bit for me. I feel like, because Nancy looks like she wants to go on a fucking rampage, you know what I mean? And I would have felt more of that if, like, they would have shown one of the parents die. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that would have benefited a lot. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel like they could have at least killed maybe, like, Karen Wheeler. I think that would have been badass to have her go out like that, protecting her daughter, and then Nancy deals with the aftermath. But no, both of her parents are seeming to survive based off the looks of it. However, Karen can't even speak. Like, that's how bad it is. You know what I mean? Like, she's paralyzed, So, you get that going on. I like the scene in the hospital where you have her and Mike talking, and then they basically trick them where Nancy dresses up as a nurse, and, Mike dresses up as, like, a patient and stuff like that. They go in there and basically tell her what happened to Holly and stuff like that, so I thought that was kind of funny. But, yeah, no, it was brutal, man. It was a brutal episode in that regard. Episode 2 didn't hold back at all. And then on top of that, you've got 11 that goes into the Upside Down to basically find Hopper and save him, and she does manage to find him, and I thought this was really cool, because you've got Hopper that's like, listen, like, no, we gotta go back, like, what? Like, what do you mean, like, Holly's missing, like, he's getting an update on this whole thing, and then 11's like, hey, look, we got to get going, and we got to find Holly. We got to bring her back, So that's the mission now, and that's what 11's going for, and Hopper, goes with her and stuff, And I thought it was great to actually, like, one of the biggest highlights I'd say of this episode is seeing the Upside Down, like, actually getting a plot in the Upside Down, being in there for a multiple, episode amount of time. I thought that was really cool. And I think they used it well. The sets looked incredible. It looked absolutely fantastic. But I love the moment where Hopper talked about his daughter. That was one of my favorite dialogue moments of this half. When he talked to 11 about his daughter, how he couldn't save her, and that's why he's being so aggressive towards her and so pushy, because he wants her to be strong enough to where she's not going to die, to where he's not going to lose another daughter figure again. You know what I mean? And I thought that dialogue scene was really, really good. Loved all that stuff. That was fantastic. You've also got Steve in this one that they find Dustin. He's been all beat up from those guys and stuff. And you've got Dustin and Steve that kind of actually have a little bit of a fight back and forth. You know what I mean? They're kind of like, hey, listen, man, like, you need to just, go along with the plan and, this and that, and they actually kind of, clash in this one, Steve and Dustin, which I thought was kind of insane. On top of that, you've also got Jonathan that still is holding the cold shoulder to Steve, and, Steve preached in this one. What can I say? When he's like, hey, listen, I don't want your girl, you know what I mean? Like, you want Nancy all to yourself, that's all fine and good. You're the one that's trapped in the past. You're the one that's still doing all this shit. You're the one that's, causing trouble and stuff like that. Like, I don't give a shit, you know what I mean? And I loved that I love that Steve said that to Jonathan. I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was great. And honestly, Steve putting Jonathan in his place for once, I think was fantastic. So I like that. I like that interaction. And I thought that was really good. Now, this entire episode, you've got Will that kind of wants to go against the plan to get Hopper out. Which, again, Will, man, I don't know what it is. I don't like his character recently. I don't know what it is. I find he's selfish. I find he's reckless. I find he's got really cringe dialogue at times. I don't know what it is about Will. I have a hard time connecting with his character. I used to like him a lot more in the first season, like second season. Now I don't know what it is, man. I find he's getting really annoying. But I really did like the sequence where basically he was like going there, basically trying to, figure everything out. Robin goes with him. You get like a duo between him and Robin, which that's kind of a big highlight this half, is that like him and Robin are like really good friends, you know what I mean? Which, that's kind of a cool thing. I like seeing that. Robin's fantastic as usual, you know what I mean? Robin's a great character. And then, basically, we get the reveal that the guy that Holly was talking to is no other than Henry. So, yes, that's right, y'all. We have Henry in his original form. I didn't think we'd see that. I thought we'd see Vecna just as he is, and that would be that. But no, we actually get a chance to see, this kind of just new version of Vecna. That you got Henry that's in this very happy land at the end, and he's got Holly there, and he meets up with her, and you're kind of wondering, like, okay, what's going on with Holly? Where is she at? You know what I mean? And Will solves the case at the end, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, episode 2 was great. I loved episode 2. I thought this one really ramped up the brutality, really ramped up the tension in this one, and I think for that, I'm going to go a bit higher. I'm going to go 9.5 on that one. I think that episode was really great. I think they did a good job with it. I think they did a really killer job with the whole thing. I think, the brutality, Karen Wheeler and what happened with her and her husband and everything, and the blood and the gore and everything, I thought they did a great job. The plot twist at the end with Henry was great. Yeah, episode 2, really enjoyed that one as well. Alright, now moving on to episode 3, the Turbo Trap. Now this one, dear God, man, this one's crazy. You've got, they're all crazy episodes, but this one was crazy. Basically, you have a few different plots in this one. You have Holly, who is in this, like, almost like this right side up type of location that Henry is keeping her in. It's very nice and civilized and nice and bright and shining, and well, she's in the Victor Creel house as well. So I have a lot of theories on what this is. There's going to be a lot of theory videos we do after this, half review. But one of the big ones that I have is, like, it feels like they're in this, like, alternate reality, almost, in a way, which we do get a download of that in episode 4, but my initial thought was, like, it almost felt like, if anybody's ever seen Lost, it kind of feels like the Flash Sideways, like, what she was in, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like that type of, like, state where, it's like, it's not the real world, it's not the upside down, but it's, like, this other part of it where you're kind of trapped in, like, this loop, you're trapped in this, like, way of life that's separated and stuff, you know what I mean? And I found it was really interesting to see that. And Holly, I will say, by the way, this is a massive compliment. Holly's never really been a character, like, on the show, like, besides just being the young little kid, you know what I mean? She wasn't really a character. But Holly in this season, yeah, I like her. The actress that they got, the little actress for her, really good, and I like to highlight that because a lot of young kids, like, no offense to them, they just can't really, they don't act all that good, some of them, because, they're young and they're kind of just getting a paycheck, and there you go, you know what I mean? The actress for Holly really put in a good performance. I thought she did a great job, so I like to highlight her for sure. And Henry, man, seeing him as Henry now, not just Vecna, creepy as shit, man. The guy is creepy as hell. But the one thing we notice is that he doesn't enter this place full on, and that's one thing that I found kind of interesting. Now, they get into that later, but I thought this was awesome. You have Steve and them that are basically setting up this thing where you've got this kid, Derek, right? Now, okay, this gets into one of my issues this season. Derek, I fucking don't like him. And I don't like him in a annoying, funny way. I just don't like this kid. He's annoying as shit. Like, there's something about him, like, the way he laughs when his parents fall down, like, the way he just sits there and makes all these fart jokes and shit. I don't know what the Duffers were going for, but the kid does not have any charm to him at all. I don't know what the hell this kid's deal is. They could have gotten any other young kid. I don't even like the actor. I'm going to be honest. Like, unlike Holly, who I think Holly's a great little actress. I think she does a great job. I find Derek's actor is fucking, like, terrible. No offense to the kid. I know he's a young kid, but I was not liking him at all. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I did not like Derek at all. He annoyed the shit out of me, if I'm being honest. I heard people say, like, oh my god, like, funniest character. I'm like, no, not really. I find him really annoying, honestly. He was not good at all. I found the actor kind of took me out of it, to be honest. But, yeah, Derek aside, the reason I bring him up is that he's kind of the main purpose. He's the one they're using to lure Vecna out, to lure the Demogorgon out, stuff like that. So, that's obviously what they're doing. But you get a pretty good fight in this one. You get, like, Lucas and them that stand up against this Demogorgon. You got Steve with the chainsaw, you know what I mean? I thought that was some really good stuff. They kind of all make this plan together with Joyce and everybody else, you know what I mean? I thought that was a great fight scene. And unfortunately, it does get away, though. The Demogorgon does get away. But I liked what they did here. They hired Erica, which Erica was funny. I thought she was really great. You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, you've got 1 minute, you know? And she's like, why would I do this for dumbass, you know, Derek? You know what I mean? Like, even she don't like him, you know? And she's like, yeah, I'll help you do what to dipshit Derek, you know? And then I like how Mike's like, yes, you help us confront dipshit Derek. You make sure that, you know, like, they just go with that, you know what I mean? So I thought that was great. And they make this elaborate plan, and basically everybody eats the pie except for the daughter. So Erica has to, you know, M95 her, you know what I mean? Got a little Dexter Morgan in there, you know what I mean? So I think Dexter be proud of Erica, you know what I'm saying? I think Dexter be pretty proud, you know? But yeah, no, I thought that was great. They take them down. Meanwhile, they take Derek hostage. Again, this kid just fucking sucks. I can't stand him. But anyway, he's actually notably bad. Like, I don't know what it is. The kid drove me insane watching these episodes. He was like my biggest con with this season, if you couldn't tell. I couldn't stand Derek. I just don't like that kid at all. And then basically, you have them, they do all that stuff. Meanwhile, you've got Hopper that ends up torturing a soldier. Basically, they fight back against the soldiers as they find this massive wall in the Upside Down that is blocking their way to get to Holly. And they're like, okay, Holly must be on the other side of this wall, which she is, because we reveal, yeah, she's got a massive, like, rock wall on her side that looks all bright and shining and stuff like that. So there's, like, the Upside Down and then the right side up is kind of the vibe I'm getting. Which is like another place that Holly is in the Upside Down, but it's not really the Upside Down. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we're at there, you know? But yeah, Hopper with the grenades, chucking that shit over, blowing up them dudes. Frickin' awesome, man. I love to see it. You have 11 that, you know, they're kind of getting her with, like, that thing that, like, kind of makes her, like, go into, like, a shock state or whatever. But when Hopper's able to get that, 11's able to help him out, fight back against the rest. Thought that was great. The bond between Hopper and 11 this volume is fantastic, because we didn't get a chance to see them interact barely at all last season because they had separate storylines. So I'm glad that the Duffers made it a point to make it all about these two, all father-daughter type. It kind of gave me like a Joel and Ellie vibe from the Last of Us video game. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what they were going for, and I think it worked. I really think it worked well. You got like a torture scene where Hopper tortures this frickin' soldier, and then you got 11 that mentally tortures him so that they can get the information on where the base is. Thought that was fantastic as well. You know, 11 kind of searches his mind and stuff like that. It was just overall a great episode. It really was. You had the conversation with Joyce where she talked to Will about, you know, her like running late, and like she didn't know Will was missing for like 11 hours and she feels responsible for that. I thought that was a great kind of dialogue scene from her. And yeah, it was overall a good time. That was a great episode. But it ends on a massive cliffhanger, and I was like, what? You've got Holly that's in this another dimension of some kind, this happy-go-lucky place, and at the very end, you've got this stranger that runs into her. They really build this up, too, and I was like, who the fuck is this? And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, this could be multiple people. Are we going to find out that Eddie is alive the whole time? You know what I mean? Like, my brain was going, you know what I mean? And then the episode ends with Holly running into Max at the end. Max, that's right. She looks like a fucking survivor. She's got long hair. Like, she looks like she's been through some shit, and they end the episode there. I was like, damn, okay. So yeah, this episode, I give this one a 9 out of 10. I give it a 9 out of 10. It's about the quality of the premiere, maybe a little less, but it's still a great episode. Derek is really what made this one my least favorite, I'm gonna be honest. But I still liked it. I really liked it. It was a great, exciting episode, and I thought it was really fun. So let's talk about the final one, episode 4. The Sorcerer, I believe, is the name of this one. Now you've got a few plots going on here. You've got Derek, who gets these kids out of this, camp or whatever by the military. The military captures them. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I like when, like, the pipe bursts and you've got them, like, that are, like, trying to fix it and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, just a minor, pipe malfunction, Thought that was great. You have the opening where you got Joyce that obviously fights this Demogorgon on her own, which I thought was badass. You still have stupid fucking Derek in the background yelling his head off. Like, what'd he say? He was like something like, oh, you can kiss my ass, or, oh my god. I was like, oh my god, this fucking kid. Honestly, worst part of the season. Couldn't stand him. He wouldn't shut the hell up, I love the part where Will fucking tackled him to the ground. I was like, damn right you do. I mean, look, Will is not exactly as interesting as, some of the other characters either, but at least Will did something, you know what I mean? At least he did something. So I like that at least. And, Derek sucks. But point being, Derek sucks, So I thought that stuff was all great. And basically you have, the characters, they're basically now, going in. You've got Hopper and 11 that are going into the military base. You have 11 that jumps the fence, which I thought was crazy. And, she's, basically telling Hopper, she's like, thanks for, having faith in me, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, you're welcome, So I thought that was great. And they go in there, and then basically, you have Linda Hamilton's character, who basically, she is the massive general of the military in this one. And you have a battle with Hopper and them, in there. They're trying to get through into that room to find out what's in there, but before then, you've got a massive battle that goes down. You've got 11 that's obviously taken back by, of course, more of that stuff that makes her, go into, like, this shock mode. And then basically you got Hopper that's, like, just shooting up these frickin' soldiers, and I thought it was badass. He's flipping folks over tables. He's doing all this crazy shit, you know what I mean? It was really, really cool. Meanwhile, you've got Steve's group that see the portal open to the Upside Down, and they're in this car, and they're like, all right, let's go, you know what I mean? Like, it's now or never. So you got Steve, Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan, and they basically just ram themselves in there into the Upside Down. And I love when, like, Dustin's like, oh my god, it's not gonna work, and you got Steve like, I got it, and they drive their way through. I thought that was so cool. So now they're on the inside, and that's kind of where we leave them. We don't see too much of them in that episode, aside from, like, a scene with them in the church. I did like the part where Steve's like, hey, listen, Henderson, I'm not your teacher. I'm not going to ask to look at your work. You know what I mean? What's your plan? That was great. Again, their banter, always great. I'm going to be honest, y'all, I thought Steve was dead as hell in these episodes, so the fact we get to at least keep him for now, I still feel like he's going to die in the next arrangement of episodes. But I'm glad it wasn't this, batch of episodes. I'm glad we got to enjoy him, because I still think Steve is dead. I'm not eliminating that theory. But yeah, that was great stuff. I liked all of that, Derek and them helping the kids get out, stuff like that. Really good stuff going on there. And you've got Lucas and them in the sewers. Really fun, exciting stuff. And then basically, you've got the attack at the army base, which I thought was insane, where basically you've got all the soldiers that are there. You get this massive shootout, and then, you get Hopper that, like, has all these flashbacks in this one, and I was kind of thinking to myself, I was like, oh my god, like, they're gonna kill Hopper, ain't they? Like, for a split moment, I was like, are they gonna fucking kill Hopper? Like, he's got these explosives on him. I was like, you better not mess around with Jim. You know what I'm saying? You better not mess around with Jim. That's all I'm saying. Those who watch, those are hardcore Stranger Things fans. You'll get what I'm saying there. Don't mess around with Jim, Anyway, so yeah, no, you shouldn't have messed with Hopper. Don't kill Hopper. That's my favorite character on the show. It might be a hot take, but I love Hopper. I love his story. He's such a relatable character. He's such a badass, you know what I mean? I don't want to see anything happen to him. Please, for the love of God, let him survive the show, because I know Steve won't. And Steve and Hopper are my goats, man, so don't do nothing to them two. But we'll see. But I was nervous for him. I ain't gonna lie. I was pretty nervous. And they capture Linda's character. I forget her damn name. It's going to take me a while. But it don't matter because they capture her at the end anyway. I thought Hopper was going to kill her, honestly. But it looks like they're going to use her as leverage. So, pretty good. Because you could get information out of her. That is true, you know? Yeah, so that's great stuff there as well, too. Now, I want to talk about Max, okay? Because this was another massive thing in this episode. Now, Max updates Holly while she's there, and basically, for, context, we basically find out what happened to her. After the end of Season 4, she did die for a minute. Then she was brought back, but not in the real world, in Vecna's, torture land, basically. And for over a year, she has been in this loop of going through memories of the world, of Vecna. You have, like, her in the 1950s in one scene. You got her going through all these memories of old stuff, these bloody labs, all these things that relate to Henry's character, you know what I mean? And she almost gets out. Like, you literally see it. There's a portal for her to get through and break out of that coma and get back to real life. But unfortunately, it gets cut off. And, you hear running up that hill. Of course, they use that again. And you got, Max that's, like, running through. And, you got the song in the background. Really cool stuff. As you basically got Vecna trying to get to her. And, I like that it wasn't Vecna, though. It was, like, Henry in his, like, bloody lab form. You know what I mean? I thought that was great. And he's creepy like that, man. I ain't gonna lie. To me, that's the creepiest Vecna is when he's in that white outfit. And he's got that killer face. And he's hunting you down. Something about that is the creepiest shit ever, man. I don't know. But yeah, no, he's hunting her down, and she almost got through. So she isn't dead, y'all. She ain't dead. She's in a coma, but she's also trapped in this other reality, and she can't get out. She's trapped by Vecna, so she's trying to find a way out. But this place that Holly and Max are in is not somewhere that Henry goes. He never goes inside of this place. So now, Max is making a plan to try to confront him in here because that might be the key to stopping him completely. So Max came back with a vengeance, and I'm glad she did because I felt like her character needed this. She's such a great character. I was really sad that her character was just going to be sitting in a hospital the whole season. I'm glad that they gave Sadie some work to do on this first half of the season. Because I was about to flaw the hell out of that if she wasn't involved. And she's just sitting there the whole season, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to see that, Max is actually doing some important work right now, you know what I mean? So I was very impressed with that. That was awesome stuff. So, we get that lore dump. That was great. We have Max and Holly that are teamed up now in that, right side up location or whatever you may want to call it. But it's really cool. It's really, really cool. So, let's talk about the ending now, because that's what we have left here. So, we have the battle that goes down. Now, the one-shot battle, by the way, in the military base, the one shot with the camera panning through, I like that. That was sick. You get like that one general dude, he goes down in this one, as you basically have Vecna that comes out, right? And, he resurrects all his Demogorgons. He basically resurrects his Demogorgons. He's got this new look. He's got, like, these new layers to him and stuff. He's looking pretty crazy, you know what I mean? And, let's talk about the big reveal. Will has powers, guys. That's the big note that we leave this on. As Will stops our characters from getting hurt. He saves Robin, he saves Lucas and Murray and everybody else. He saves Joyce, he saves Mike, he saves the rest of the kids. And you find out that the reason why Will is so connected to Vecna is because he's powerful as well. Now, Will having powers is one thing because the character kind of lost me over these last few seasons, so I wasn't too excited about it, if I'm being honest. But I think story-wise, there is an opportunity for them to do some really good things. So I'm going to see that out, because I feel like that's a really good thing they could do for Volume 2. And I think they could utilize it in a good way. But that's the big reveal at the end of this volume. That, and then obviously 11 finding out that the person behind the doors, and the one that the military was holding, is her sister, 8, which she's back as well. So we'll have to see where that goes. That was like the one Stranger Things episode I never liked, was like that punk rock episode with her sisters. So I'm hoping I like her better when we pick up in volume 2. And I am very curious to see, now that Will has powers, where this is all gonna go. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, that is the 4th episode. I give that one, I give it like an 8.5. Yeah, it was great. It was a great episode. It was a great episode. I'd say it had the best sequence of the show, up to that point. I'd say it's at least top 5 material for sure. Yeah, no, it was a great one. Episode 4 was really great. So overall, this is kind of how I would look at it. Highlights for this volume. I would say, Hopper, 11, Steve, Dustin, Robin, and, who else would I say? I'd say Will, he was a highlight, whether or not I liked his scenes or not. He was definitely a highlight. They gave him a lot of stuff. And Mike, oddly. Mike, yeah. I liked Mike a lot. Mike was really good. I felt like they really upgraded his character this season, because I feel like he wasn't utilized much in season 4. So I'm glad that they made more of him. You know what I mean? So those are my highlight characters. Favorite episode? Episode 2, for sure. Episode 2. It was just the most brutal. It was the most intense. It was just graphic and crazy, and just the reveals and everything. Yeah, I'd say that. But my favorite sequence is the final, like, 20 minutes in the base, for sure. You know, so that's probably what I'd say there. But yeah, no, this arrangement of episodes was great, y'all. If y'all stayed till the end of the review, by the way, you're fantastic. But let me know what you guys thought of Volume 1 of Stranger Things Season 5, the final season. How did this go for y'all? I had a lot of fun with it. I really did. There was a lot of great stuff going on, and I was engaged the whole time. So, yeah, overall, I would give the first half of the season 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. It's a great season. I would say this so far. My issues are Derek. I don't like that kid. You best just shove him in the background. You know what I mean? Just something about him didn't work for me. And then, I would say Will, still just uninteresting to me. I don't know why. I still find him uninteresting. And then my last big issue, I think we could have used a death or two, if I'm being honest. For a final season, I think they kind of went cheap on it. Like, I think the Wheeler family, like the 2 parents, you could have killed them. You know what I mean? You could have killed them for sure. You know, give us some tension. Give us some stakes. You know what I mean? I know they're probably going to kill some big characters when we return, so I won't complain about that too much. But I'll say, yeah, 8.5 out of 10. I think everything was good except for those three little complaints I have. Aside from that, I think this worked very well. The action was good. The characters were great. They got to the point. Great dynamics, great scenes, great visuals. They did great. This was a great first opening to a season. Well, first half of the season. Half of the season's done now. That's insane. So let me know what y'all thought, guys. Post your comments down below. If you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe. And to notice any of the videos, make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for Stranger Things. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shed a TV light.